Hi everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about the input field and input field TextMeshPro, so let's get started. So in the input field and input field TextMeshPro there are a lot of differences, so stay tuned to the end. So on input field, when you click input field, we're going to get this input field component. Same with the image, canvas render, and rec transform. The image, I have a video on that. Check out the link up above. Input field, this is the same as the button component, this section right here. So check out the video up above as well. Now for here, this is where it changes for the input field. So this text component, if you click it, it's this text right here. It's empty. This is the text that the user or the one playing your game is gonna enter. So if you want to change the font size, if you want to change, like, alright, let's say we want the user to use this Anton font, which if you want to get it, it's in the TextMeshPro. Just download the TextMeshPro and you get all these fonts right here. Besides the Arial is a default font. So now if you push play, and if I type something in, I should type in something with that sort of font. So maybe not. Maybe I can't use it because it's it shouldn't be because of that. I'm not sure why you can't use it. There you go. So with this font it works. As you can see, we're using this type of font. Let's say I change the font here to Arial and I go back to the game. As you can see, this font right here, go back to the game, and now it's this font. So that's where you change the font for the user, so for the one playing your game, and for the placeholder which is where it says enter text, this is where you could change that. You could change it to anything you want. Let's say I change it to that one. I could change the font size. Of course it has to kind of fit in to the box, so there you go. You could change the color, all that. And back here on the input field, so that's the text component. The text, this is what the user inputs. So just to show you real quick, so whatever I type in here, or whoever is playing your game, it appears in this script right here. So as you can see, let me put something that people could read. So hello, it says right here hello. Character limit, so if you want it to have a limit, let's say I want it to have a limit of 4. So now when I play it, let me make the screen bigger so you guys can see, because we're going to be in play mode for a while here. So make this a little smaller. So as you can see, I got a character limit of 4. If I try to spell hello now, it won't let me put in the O, or the O. So if I have, like, let's say a character limit of 5, hello, and now I can't type nothing else. And if you want to also change this right here, the content type is what type of content you want people to be able to input here. So if you want people just to have a standard, which is pretty much anything, numbers, symbols, anything you could think of, you could do that. You could also have autocorrect. So if, let's say, you're exporting your game to a mobile device, or any device that has autocorrect built into it, it will autocorrect it for you, which is pretty neat. And then there's integer numbers. So if you want the user to only be able to type in integer numbers. So right now I'm typing A. As you can see, nothing's working. All the letters ain't working. I type in a number and you can see the numbers are working. I try to type in a dot. I can't type in a dot for a decimal. If I put decimal now I could actually type a dot, but I could only type 1, as you can see. And I could type numbers. And then there's also alphanumeric. Now alphanumeric lets you type numbers, decimals, or Actually, I don't think it lets you type. Nope, it don't let you type decimal. So just whole numbers and letters, and it don't let you type any symbols. So no dollar signs, no exclamation points, nothing like that. Name, when you have name, the first letter, even if you don't push shift, will be capitalized. So it will be capitalized no matter what. For email address, this is so like let's say you have it on built it on the phone. When they're typing in their email address or whatever, they could just type it in. It will fill in the blanks like autocorrect. It will show at Gmail or Yahoo or whatever your uh, autocorrect is most familiar with. And then there's password. So if you type in something now, it looks like a password. There's also PIN. Now PIN is the same thing, but of course you can't use letters or characters. You could only use numbers. And then you got custom. Now custom lets you define the line type, the input type, the keyboard type, and the character validation. So line type you could choose between single line, multi-line, or multi-line with new or multi-line submit or multi-line new line, which is if I show you right here, if I increase the height and just so you guys can see this text a little better so I don't look too bad. Oh, placeholder text. Put it up here real quick and go back to the game. Now now you see that, and then there's where was that? Oh, over here. So custom or single line. Now if I go to multi-line submit, now while I'm let me pause it. Now I got over here, so I gotta put it to one of these. I'm gonna put it to alphanumeric because I wasn't able to type right now. I was only able to use numbers, so I'm gonna use alphanumeric. The keyboard type, I'm gonna use this right here, ASCII capable. There's a name for this. I think it's S. I don't even want to deal. I don't even want to try to say it, but there's a name for that, which is pretty much just. Let me customize this to 0, so I don't have a limit. Right here, character limit. If you don't want to have any limit, just put 0. And let me put this to standard. And now I could type any number, any letter, no dots, nothing like that, because I have it to this capable, and I have it as standard. And now when I go to multi-line submit, as you can see when I'm typing, so let's say hello numbers and punctuation, no, default. Go to default. Oh, that's weird. Let me see real quick. Okay, let me go back to it. Okay, so I'm gonna go to custom. Go back to multi-line submit. Increase this height real quick. Where are we at over here? Standard. We're gonna go to default. Then we're gonna go to open name. So now when we're typing, we gotta take the limit off to 0. Now when we're typing, hi everyone, this is what, as you've seen right there, it automatically bumped me down to a new line. Okay, multi-line submit is, and if we go over here to line, multi-line new line, now it does, let me show you. This is a see, it does the same thing. The only difference is that I could push enter and it'll keep going, but with this submit, as soon as I push enter, it'll submit it and it'll kind of kick me off already. So let me scale this up so you can see this is blinking, so I'm able to type. If I push enter, there's no more blinking, so I'm not able to type, and that's the difference between those two. Now for input type, you could put, like I said, standard lets you type letters, numbers, autocorrect, autocorrects for any device that is capable of it. password to change it into a password, type style, default type. This is also, you know, letters, no numbers, no symbols, nothing like that. Numbers and punctuations, as it implies. So if you pause it, you could use numbers and punctuations. Of course, you would have to use integer or decimal for that to work. And after that, there's URL. So if you want to use a URL type, number pad, phone pad. So phone pad, if you're on your phone, it will bring out the phone pad on the phones. Same with the number pad, the name pad, email address. Social is also so let me show you. It's kind of like a social, like a social email address sort of thing. Search. So if you want to be able to search something, like have a search bar. Decimal pad. It'll bring up like a phone pad, but with the decimal point on it, and a one-time code. One-time code. This one I'm not too sure what this one does. Let me see. I think I have the documentation up here. So it says right here, I don't even think it has one-time code on here. Yeah, it don't even say what one-time code is. Now, one thing I did want to mention before I do go back is there's this option that says hide mobile input. As you can see, it's only iOS, and it hides the native input field attached to the on-screen keyboard on the mobile devices. Like it says, it only works on iOS devices. So that is right here, hide mobile input. So check it on if it's Apple. If not, you don't have to check it. You don't have to mess with it or check it or anything like that. Placeholder is that enter text, this right here. So you could actually go to this placeholder and just put whatever you want. So type something already. You know, anything you want. You could change the size, all that stuff. After that, there's it says caret blink rate. Now that's this actual line right here. So you could actually increase it. So you can see it blinks. It don't blink at all now. It blinks slowly. And then you could also increase the width. You can have it real thick. You could also customize it, the color. So you could have a red, a green, whatever you want. Customize the color. Of course, you could customize also like over here, where is it? The input field, the background of the actual input field. And of course the text right here. That's if you have any text. And this is the placeholder text. So you could also change the placeholder text. Of course, with any color you want. And then after that, there is the selection color. So this is, let me show you real quick, but let me actually change this back to white. So selection color is when you actually select the object. As you can see, it's yellow. Probably not a good yellow, but higher up the intensity right here. As you can see, it's like a highlighter now. It's just a selected color. You can make whatever input in here into a read-only file. So you could save this, I don't know, for your game to be able to reuse at a later time. I really don't know what way you could use it, but you could use it, for example, I guess, to, let's say you want to make a list, a grocery list. You can make a grocery list. You can have the player actually input what they want, hamburgers, this and that, and then make it to read only. So when they do input it, you could bring it back into a later scene, or show it to your grocery person in your game, and they could help you find all those items. On value changed, as it says, you could once the value changes, let's say once you type something in, then something else will happen. So let's say once I type something in, I have a game object and it disappears. Same with on end editing. So as soon as I'm done editing, right there, something will happen. You can make, I don't know, some firework happen, something happen. For example, let me see. I'll leave you guys hanging like that. So I can have a particle system. and the particle system, I could bring it to us. And as soon as, let's say, this particle system, or as soon as we're done editing the text, it's gonna shoot up like that, just real quick. Let's go to the scene view. Yeah, that should work. So I don't have to be looping, just one time, playing awake off. Okay, so now when we go back, it's not working right now, but should work hopefully. Yeah, it should work. Okay, so now when we go to the input fields, I go to the particle system, I go to no function, particle system play. So now when I'm done editing, that particle system will play, it will shoot. So now if you guys want to know more about particle systems, I got a video about that. I just made one real quick. So now I type, and as soon as I'm done editing, so I'm gonna push enter, it's gonna shoot the particle system. As you can see, it's the particle system. And on value change, this happens as soon as so we'll put this one stop as soon as you start typing. So let's say particle system play. So it's gonna play as soon as you start typing, and as soon as I'm done typing, it's gonna stop. As soon as I start typing, as you can see, it starts playing. As soon as I stop typing, it stops. Okay, and that's pretty much that for the input field. There's a placeholder, like I said, it just has a text, and then there's the text. Now for the input field TextMeshPro, this is where it gets a little more interesting, because they are pretty different compared to the button and the button TextMeshPro and all that are basically the same. Now this one, put the inspector. Okay, so now we have this input. Let me turn this off so we don't really get confused. Just position it. All right, so the difference between the two is, of course, it has the TextMeshPro UI and all that stuff. It has also an input field that's also the TextMeshPro, and has this text area box. This component looks a little more organized, more things on it, more things to do, but it's really simple. It has everything basically the same. The font, you could change the size of the input field settings, you could change the number of characters, you could change, the password, all that, the content type. Vertical scroll bar, this is where it gets a little interesting. What you could do here is you could actually make a scroll bar. I have a video on how to make a scroll bar. Check that out. Or what the scroll bar component does, what all these little components do. So you could check that out. I'm gonna put this from top to bottom, and then I'm gonna move this to the right. So I'm gonna move this to the right over here, and I'm gonna make this canvas a little bigger. So now it's kind of like a little scroll bar thing. And what I could do is now I could plug this scroll bar here into the vertical scroll bar, and now it's a little scroll bar that we could use, and this little option appears, and that's the sensitivity of the scroll bar. So the higher it is, the more sensitive, the lower, the less. There's also the blink rate, like the other one. All these are the same. This is where it gets a little more different. Well, actually, I'm going to show you the scroll bar in action. So the scroll bar, let's say you have a bunch of text. I'm going to put hi everyone like a million times, just so you guys could see. So I'm going to copy this and just paste, 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 paste. And as you can see, it kind of cuts off right here. This is because I have it as single line. I'm going to put it to multi-line, new line. As you can see, now it's like that. I'm just going to keep pasting. And you're going to start seeing that the actual, if we did it right, yeah, the actual scroll bar should start, yeah. Whoa, I kind of messed up there. Well, actually, I could go back. See, as you can see, there's now a scroll bar that you could actually mess with or play around with. And of course, you guys could have a bunch of text that makes sense. And as you can see, you could actually move it. And one thing you might notice is that you could actually edit it. Like someone playing could actually edit this text, which might be something you guys don't want. This might be something you want people to read and not to mess with. So what you can do is you could go over here to the input field. You could go to, actually, where is it? You could go to interactable, and you could click it. You could click it, and it could be, you could set interactable to false. And as you see, there's this gray area, and you might not want that, of course, especially if you want somebody to read it and not think it's a locked item or something like that. You could go to the disabled color and you could change it just to white, bump up the alpha, or any color, of course, any color you want. But I'm just gonna leave it to white, just like it usually is when it is interactable. Now, when you hit play, you can actually scroll, but you or the player won't be able to type anything in. They won't be able to click anything, so it won't be interactable. But they'll be able to read everything, and it's just a simple way to have a piece of text for the players to read, which is something I thought was pretty neat and easy to make with this input field. And then after that, they have this on focus select all. So this is, let me show you real quick. When this is checked, as soon as I click this input field, everything will be selected. So let me show you. Oh, this is still uninteractable. So when I click it, as you can see, everything gets selected. So now if I have this deselected, now I click it, and as you can see, it only goes to the spot I want instead of selecting everything. Reset on deactivation. Check this one. This one is just, should the text and caret position be reset when input field is deactivated. So if you want this actual the blinking little line to reset every time it's deactivated, then you can have that true. If you don't, then just deactivate it. And then restore on escape. This is just if you want the actual text to be restored when you hit the escape key. This is to hide the keyboard if you have a virtual keyboard. Same with the mobile input if you want to hide the mobile keyboard, the little keyboard that the phones have. If you want to set it read only, just like this input field. Rich text, and then after rich text, you could also allow rich text editing, so you could allow it right there. And then they have on value changed, on editing, on end editing. So this is the same thing as these input fields. The only difference on this one is they also have on select and on deselect. So every time someone selects this, or every time someone deselects it. So let's say every time someone selects it, we'll play the particle system that I just made real quick. So we'll play it, and then when we deselect it, we'll stop it. We could also, of course, add stuff for here, but you guys pretty much know what this is, so we're just gonna leave it at that. And now I still have it as uninteractable. You gotta make sure it's interactable if you want to select stuff. So when I select it, as you can see, it plays. It's still playing. And if I have it on loop, it'll keep playing and playing and playing. So let me show you real quick. So now it'll play. Since I have it looping, it should burst again, as you can see, and it'll keep bursting and bursting over and over. Now when I deselect it, let's see that burst come out real quick. Now I deselect it, it stops completely. So that's it for that. And if we go now for the text, it has text area, and this rect mass transfer or 2D. This is the actual what actually hides these words. So as you can see, there's more words down here getting cut off, but it's hidden, and that's because of this, as you can see. And if I go back to my scene view, let me move it over here so it won't be so confusing. I go to the text area. As you can see, it's just this little box right here, and I have this over here. And they have the padding's also adjusted, so you could adjust the padding to how you like. And of course, depending on the padding, as you can see, the words are getting cut off on top now. You can have it on the bottom, get cut off even more. But yeah, that's what the rect mask 2D does. And there's the placeholder. Just has this TextMeshPro text UI. It has a layout element, which just ignores certain layout or certain elements. It kind of works as a sorting layout, or what is it called? Sorting layer. I already forgot what it was called. Let me check real quick. Yes, like a sorting layer, and then it acts like the ordering layer. So yeah, that's what that is, and that's pretty much it for the input field. there's a text right here. It has TextMeshPro UI. That's what I inputted. And of course, for the TextMeshPro text, you could change the fonts and everything like that. But yeah, that's it for the input field. If you liked this video, if it helped you, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. It'll really mean a lot. Know that you guys are liking these videos and it's helping you guys out. For the next video, I'm going to talk about what the canvas is. So what this component is, what all these components do, and how you can work these components to your advantage, because some of these you kind of have to, like this scale with screen size, it'll scale with your screen size. So if you have different if you're planning to build two different platforms like a phone, PlayStation, computer, whatever, you could change the scale with screen size, and I'll talk about that more in detail. There's also the panel that I want to talk about. There's scroll view and event system. I'll get to that as quick as possible. Thank you once again to everybody that has subscribed so far. I really appreciate it. Thank you once again.